Hello and welcome to another Warcraft 3 audio commentary. Today, we're going to be watching Game 1 out of a best of 5 show match between HawK, spawning in as the light blue human in the upper right part of the map. This map is obviously going to be Amazonia, and in the lower left, we're going to be seeing Cechi, the mighty yellow undead. I'm probably murdering his name once again. I think I might have somewhat forgotten how to pronounce it, but I'll figure that out later. This is game number 1. Numero uno. Numero uno. I don't know, I don't know. I want to learn Spanish at some point in my life, but I currently don't know it. So yeah, this is going to be human versus undead. There is a surprisingly large amount of human versus undead out there at the moment that have been recent games, and I'm trying to do recent games until I run out, which may never happen, who knows. But it's pretty much Night Elf versus Orc, human versus undead, and then I think there's like one human mirror, which I just didn't feel like doing a human mirror out of the games that I looked at and saw, which was, I think, like 20 games. I could have kept looking, but I'm kind of getting late to this. There are people doing fireworks tonight for some reason. It's the 7th of June. I have no idea, but they were doing fireworks, and it was really close, so I couldn't record because, like, it was really loud. It was like really, really loud. And then this echo chamber that I'm in just echoed through the walls, and I tried, and it just sounded really bad. So instead, I watched YouTube videos. Yay! I have other important things to do, but I worked all day. I'm tired. It's my really bad excuse. Anyway, so just wasted all this early game talk. So yeah, we're seeing a Ted Fiends build coming out of Cechi, and of course, it's a human build. It could be an expansion build. It could be a tech build. You know, I don't know human well enough to be able to tell the difference between which one, like, at this point. I don't even know if there is a difference at this point. There may be, like, a really subtle one. He's going to try to steal it with the Acolyte, but it's not going to happen. In fact, he's just going to end up feeding 25 extra experience over to the Archmage, which is not what you really want to do, but it's not really a big deal either. Especially on a map like this where there's so many different creep camps that you can easily creep early on. You're not going to delay the Archmage a huge amount, and you get the information that you really want with that Acolyte Scout, so it's kind of worth doing it. And if you do manage to get the steal, then you get a big head boost. So it's just kind of a gamble. But yeah, so there you go. So 48 up to 73 experience on the Death Knight here, because he did get one of those peasants killed with a skeleton. And of course the Archmage will pick him off, and then he's working on level 2. 177 out of 200. He's well on the way. Down here, this is a Ted Fiends, but it's not the traditional tech version of the build. It's the, okay, I'm going to go ahead and make some Fiends early on, put out some early pressure. If that's the case, a lot of the times what you're expecting to see out of the human is an early expansion. And so I think the big kind of indicator there is going to be like peasant count, because you need more peasants, obviously, if you're looking for the expansion rather than teching. And on a map with the ability to get a Shredder, it's not such a big deal if you have to pull loads and loads of peasants over here and the form of militia. Even if you lose a bunch of them, that's usually really bad. But on maps that have shredders, especially ones where you want to creep that camp out first, like this one or Twisted Meadows, it's just not that big of a deal because you can recoup that wood loss really easily. It's just kind of a delay. But right now we're seeing them try to go ahead and get vie for that little creep. Of course, the Archmage was able to pick it up, and now he's very close to level 2. And at this point, the undead just needs to kind of, he went for the water elemental there because it's, you know, it's good to kill him. It's a bit of experience. You may as well go ahead and do it if you can, if they're low, but it's not really worth wasting your time on. Gonna go ahead and pick up level 2 with a Coil Steel on that troll, which is gonna actually deny level 3 for the Archmage, but he's gonna get it here with 2 skeletons, so it's kind of a little bit of an issue. One of the reasons why denying your skeleton can be a very, very big play early on to do. And if your opponents are really, really trying to kill those skeletons, you should really, really try to deny them, because you can kind of assume they're about to level. And there it was, the second skeleton, that's level 3. Is killing footmen here, it's a questionable move. A lot of times you'll see undeads prefer to focus on the peasants or the militia at this point. The issue is that if you're doing that, then those footmen, the water elementals, and the Archmage really just have that free reign on you, so you kind of need to go for them if you want to actually have a longer fight there. without like losing it too badly. But again, you're not going to really win that fight. A lot of the times when you see this, it's just a delay tactic on the peasants in the expansion over here. And he still managed to delay things regardless. I don't know how, but he still has. So maybe the human might have just been low on wood or gold or something. It doesn't look like he was, but maybe he was just too busy focusing on the micro of the fight. If that's the case, then it was just a bit of a bad play. But HawK's really insanely good, so I don't think that's the case. I think he had to be maybe careful, because you know, when you're trying to put those towers up, and this is probably what it is, the fiends can switch to them like this right here and kill those towers really easily, and unless you have all of your peasants right there repairing them, and then it's a little bit harder. If you have 4 fiends, I don't know if 5 peasants is enough. I don't think it is enough to repair through that. I think it'll kill it, but with 3 fiends, it can happen, and that might very well, probably is the reason why HawK wasn't deciding to build that town hall. He really wanted to have all those peasants right there at the tower ready to repair, to make sure it went up, because with that tower up, the skeleton harass is more or less dead at that point, and also the Death Knight can't really go in there without really losing a lot of mana, and we know how important Death Coil is in the early game, so it's really important that there is no arcane tower near the Death Knight, otherwise he's just losing a lot of mana. And when you only have level 1 Death Coil, it's drastically more important that you don't have your mana hit by any kind of burn effect, because you're just only healing 200 HP per coil. It's not really a lot. Well, and he just got surrounded on his Death Knight and he's going to be forced to TP. I think that was just an accident by him. I really think he was just like, maybe he thought he brought it down here and just somehow, for whatever reason, microing microing the fiends with the creep. Probably doing that separate from the Death Knight, probably took the Death Knight out of the control group, you know, and just forgot about it for a second. I mean, we all have those kind of moments where we do that kind of thing and we just forget that the unit's not in there when you move them, and you're thinking they're all going to move, and then your Death Knight doesn't, and he gets surrounded. That is a big pain in the butt. So he's going to have to be a little more careful going forward, because he doesn't have a TP, so he doesn't have that way out of a fight if he takes a bad one. So he's going to have to play a little bit more defensive in that regard, and also a little bit more careful with the fact that if he, you know, lets the human walk out of his sight for, you know, maybe a minute, and he doesn't see the human for about a minute, he's gonna have to start panicking, because maybe the human's on his way to his base and he's about to, you know, do some kind of crazy harass, and he really needs to get back ASAP, but he doesn't have a TP. So all those things, when you don't have a TP, you really have to start thinking about map control much more seriously. I mean, ideally you are thinking about map control regardless, right? Map control, of course, really big issue, but when you don't have a TP, it becomes much more important, especially as an undead, because if you're not there at your base to defend it, and it's not ready to be defended, if you haven't built towers or some kind of defense, in the case that you can't get there and there's some kind of surprise attack, that's when not having a TP can lose you the game. As simple as that. But and really against humans you need to know that, because especially on this map, because they can buy Zeppelins here. So if you don't see the human army for like I said, a solid minute, they're probably about to drop into your base. Like, that's probably what's about to happen. But he's doing a great job. Also, I'm just noticing we don't have any sound. What is going on? I don't have any sound in this game. Do I? Oh, I do. Okay, I do have sound. Okay. Sorry, I got distracted. It's really quiet. I forgot that I turned the volume down because I'm wearing my headphones right now, and they leak sound. Yeah, my bad. I'm being stupid. Ignore that. So yeah, where were we? I don't know. But the undead, he is assaulting this base, and he's killing footmen. So he's doing a fantastic job. That's really what he wants to do. He's got this big tier 2 army. Is he going? He's going for the tier 3. Okay. It's always good if you can find the time, but that's always a big decision / big question. Do you invest in the tech as an undead player in this situation? If you invest in the tech, that means you can't make meat wagons because you're not really going to be able to afford them, and it means that you have to set aside some, you can't really break upkeep either. You'll see that he's sitting at 39 out of 50 food. If he wasn't teching, he could really just keep building ziggurats and go into like 60 food upkeep here with just a bunch of fiends. Fiends are pretty cheap. Once you've got them, they're pretty cheap. You know, there's not a whole lot of a cost there to continue making fiends. They're 215 gold, 40 lumber. That's it. But when you have to start making, like, say, some tech, you have to have the resources to get your Black Citadel. You have to have the resources ready to buy the orb. You have to have the resources ready to get Destroyer upgrade, because these are all things that you need. If you're going to tech, you need to have a reason that you're teching. You don't want to just throw that money away for no reason. And right now, we're seeing the human player, he is kind of harassing this with these defended footmen. He's going to try to kill off as many acolytes as he can. And if he kills any acolytes right now, which one just went down, that's a big deal, because right now that Black Citadel is at 75% of the way through with this tech. Now, with a bunch of ghouls here, they shouldn't really be killing anything, and I think it was a little bit of a mistake to lose even one acolyte in that situation, but he may have been surrounded. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. With a bit of fancy micro, you can actually get an acolyte out of a surround, because, you know, what you can do is you can take them off and then pop them back on into a different spot. If you move another acolyte into a spot, you kind of, like, if you put one from here and you got one real closer to this thing, you pop this one off and then pop that one on. You kind of probably get my drift, and if not, sorry, I'm not being super clear, but that's kind of what you can do. You'll see he's done a good job saving the other ones, but he still has to deal with the fact that there's 2 water elementals that can kind of get suicided into there. But he's keeping this up, this assault on this expansion, and this is something that we saw happen, I think, within our time when we started doing casts. This was not a technique that you saw being used. That was, you know, that was a while ago now. I think we're getting on close to 2 years ago. But during that time, that's something that we started seeing, and if I remember correctly, it was when Lucifer came back. And he kind of did that. Now, I could be wrong, so I don't want to credit the wrong person there, but I think it was Lucifer who kind of had this tower up your base, let the human come in and harass it, and just keep railing that expansion as hard as you can. Now, it makes for exciting games because we're watching 2 different fights unfold here. This expansion is basically over. It's basically lost. It's not completely. There's going to be some militia coming in. The undead's going to have to deal with that. He doesn't have his lich anymore up there. He's bringing his lich home. And what he would really like to have right now is an orb, but he doesn't have the money to afford that. And he doesn't even have a shop right now. So what he can do, though, is he can maybe cast a Frost Nova. Not right now, because he doesn't have the mana. Frost Armor would be fantastic, but he has to make sure he's not losing these acolytes. And the other issue is that if the undead brought back the brunt of his force, then he wouldn't be able to deal with the fact that, yeah, there's some militia here, yep, there's still 2 towers up. So while I say that expansion's lost, it's not really lost, it's just, you know, it's not gathering resources. Finally, you know, the human player, he's killed, it looks like all of the acolytes. He's like, all right, that's good, I'm going to TP out and go deal with this. And also, you know, as a side note for timing, hey, my Mountain King's here and I'm going to start killing all your shit. So that's no good. It looks like this Death Knight could be in a bit of trouble here. Now, this was really unfortunate because the undead just ran out of steam there and he lost all of his economy, but he came so close. If he had taken out that expansion, it would have been worth it, but he didn't quite get the expansion taken out, and he lost all of his economy, and there goes the Death Knight because he didn't have that TV because he messed up earlier and got surrounded, and that is good game called by the mighty Cechi versus HawK. That's game 1. This is the show match. This is the best of 5, so we will also be watching the rest of these games, up to 5, however many there are, pretty much on the next consequent days. In the future. Tomorrow will be game 2. I will hope to see you there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!